Welcome to the workshop.
All right, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the Workshop Podcast. It's been a little crazy last couple weeks, but hey, we're back, episode 6. I'm here with my buddy Matt, and let's jump into it. How have you been?
I have been, as you know, I've been dying the last 2 weeks, so that's why I missed. I hate missing pretty much anything. I'm a commitment Nazi. Like, when I commit to something, like, I probably shouldn't say Nazi, but when
Yeah, dude, come on.
I'm a commitment. Like, I love when, like, hey, if I set out to do something, like, that's what I'm going to do. And so being sick is, like, my worst fear in the entire world. And so I was held up in bed for, like, 12 days. I was dying.
Sounds horrible.
And so it was miserable, but you know, you killed it. I got to hear the last. If you guys haven't heard episode 5, please go check it out because it was
really cool.
Incredible. It was such a cool experience to hear. Kind of just like a fan, you know. Usually, because sometimes you know we're co-hosting this, and so like you know it's weird listening to your own voice, but. You know, it's like one of those moments where I was just a fan, and it was a really cool experience.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing is I got to go to a wedding of 2 of my like really close friends in Springfield. So their wedding was in Bentonville.
Nice.
And it was amazing. Shout out to the Philpods because I just found out you guys watch this every
That's
week.
awesome.
Which
Heck
is
yeah.
Amazing. So shout out to the Philpods. Congrats. Hope you're having fun on your honeymoon. But yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, heck yeah. Well, I'm glad you're back. Yeah, it's been weird because we usually record these on Fridays, and you're not listening to this on Wednesday, but now this is a recording. It's been a weird holiday weekend. I went dove hunting last Friday and stayed up all night, and that was a horrible idea. So we're recording on a Wednesday, but hey, we'll get back in the swing of things and keep pushing out stuff, you know? That's the biggest thing, just keep pushing out stuff. Well, I'm glad you're back alive, you didn't get coronavirus, and let's jump right in. So, you know, we do something every week. We do a little snack, food, whatever. Today is ice cream of the day. So, Matt, I want you to create your best, most ideal bowl of ice cream. Tell me what that is.
So my ideal bowl of ice cream has 5 scoops of ice cream. It's got 4 scoops at the bottom, kind of in a diamond pattern.
I'm seeing it. I'm
and
visualizing
then it has 1 on top. And then the flavoring. I'm a big cookies and cream fan. So I love all things vanilla.
Yeah.
French vanilla, homemade vanilla, like any type of vanilla bean like that you could do. My favorite. But I also love Oreos. So I would do like a homemade vanilla or a French vanilla, maybe 2 of each.
Yeah.
Put it on there. And then mix in some Oreo cookies.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of as like a topping so that it's like a good, nice, like, hey, you get this French vanilla. Oh, I've thought about this way too much. So then you do that. And then the fifth scoop, strawberry. Like not one with strawberries in it, but a strawberry. Because cookies and cream, amazing.
Yeah.
But that top piece with just like a little bit of strawberry,
interesting,
is amazing. And then I would probably drizzle a little bit of hot fudge, but not too much. Because if you overdo the chocolate, it counteracts the strawberry and vanilla.
Yeah, I could see it.
A lot of people like cherries on top, but that's it. I'd put that, or I'd put maybe some whipped cream in there, depending on if I'm feeling like, hey,
if you're feeling like want a heart attack, whatever.
I'm like, I could use some diabetes right now.
Yeah.
Put on some whipped cream, but if not, hot fudge with the strawberry.
Okay.
I've done this a couple times when it's like build your own ice cream.
Oh yeah.
Bar, and it is and 5 scoops seems like a lot, but they're little scoops, so they're not like massive.
Massive.
And honestly, everyone could use some ice cream.
That's true.
What about you? What's yours?
Well, I'm also a cookies and cream guy, but my most ideal bowl of ice cream is actually in a cup, okay? And this is based off kind of like a Dairy Queen vibe. So I'll have the cookies and cream in the cup, but in the center is just hot fudge. Like if you think of like a sealed pack of like pennies, like that size, just hot fudge, okay? And so now you're seeing there's a cup, a ring of cookies and cream, and in the middle is hot fudge. And then on the top of that, I'll smash down a full-size Oreo cookie. Mega stuffed.
Oh, got it. Got it.
On top of that is a just out of the oven brownie. Circular brownie. So now it's covering all of the ice cream with the brownie on top. And then the next thing is just a scoop of cookie dough. Put right on top of the brownie. So you got cookie dough, hot brownie. Right under that brownie is an Oreo. Mega stuffed Oreo. And then you got a cylinder of hot fudge. And then that hot fudge is surrounded by cookies and cream.
That sounds way too good, honestly.
I know. I would sell it, but I'd probably eat more than I'd sell. So maybe that's not a good business idea. But dude, I've been thinking when I wrote this, like, hey, what are we going to talk about? This popped into my head, and that's all I want in life now.
That sounds so good.
I know.
Would you consider that, since it's in a cup, would you consider that a milkshake, or is it just a cup of ice cream?
See, it's a cup of ice cream because although I do love cookies and cream shakes,
I love it.
This is the you got me there. This is the solid cookies and cream ice cream, probably from Bluebell or maybe the Brahms brand. I like.
Shout out to Bluebell. If you're listening, I would love
a sponsor. I don't think you guys sponsor very many people, so hey, we would love to champion
local grown.
Yeah, small business, local business, support local businesses. I know you guys had a tough time a couple years ago with salmonella. We're willing to build your brand back to the mega ice cream creator.
Dude, Bluebell was the ice cream choice. Like,
oh yeah,
you would go anywhere. You would choose.
I grew up right like a couple miles from the Bluebell factory, so like it's in my veins. So I love me some Bluebell. But enough talking about that. I'm already hungry, and this is making it worse. We always do this segment, I feel like, right before dinner time, and I get like I'm starving.
Every time you're like, oh, yeah, we're gonna bring it next time, and I'm like,
next time, yeah.
It's always next time. Yeah. I'm thinking, man, okay, we're about to get some.
Well, I was never like next time, as in like 2 days from now. I'm just next time, right?
Yeah.
So yeah. So it'll happen one time, next time.
And then I'll be a happy,
you'll be satisfied. But so we're in the workshop, right? We've been in the workshop for 6 weeks. Last week I called it was my lunch break, it was the lunch break from the workshop. Been working.
Which is a good title, honestly,
to
think about when you put it up. I was like, what is he gonna call it? What's he gonna do?
Dude, I'm pretty good at titles. I don't know.
You're pretty good. You're pretty good at these little messages.
It's one of my like creative values, I feel like. But today we're getting a tool back in our hands, and today's tool is the adjustable wrench. Okay, the adjustable wrench, comes in all sizes, big, small. Some people may call it a crescent wrench. It's designed to fit any situation, so it can wrench down or loosen up bolts or nuts. It really is designed to fit your needs. You can use it on a square nut, a hexagonal nut, lock nut, nylon, anything you can think of. It's really designed for that. You can use multiple, you can use one, and it's just all around kind of like a utility tool. And the reason I want this in my workshop, and I hope you do too, is because of the reason that it's adjustable. And I think just like the tool, something we can use is to be adjustable. So I want to ask you, Matt, why is it important, or even is it important, to be adjustable in some situations?
Yeah, no, I think, kind of the first couple things I was thinking of, because obviously these are all candid, so I don't ever get to see the message. But the first couple things, I was thinking, man, like, one, your language has to be adjustable.
Yeah,
You gotta be able to communicate with your audience. You gotta be able to communicate with, whoever. Like, I'm gonna talk differently around my church group than I am around, people like you, or like
Yeah.
people that don't know me very well.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna make sure I'm speaking at the highest possible
right.
language. You know, I'm gonna be making sure that whatever I'm saying is adjustable.
Right.
And it's not like a lot of people say, "Oh, so you put on masks or you're fake," and it's not that. I'm the same person. I'm the same attitude. I'm the same drive, passion, same thing.
Yeah.
But I want to make sure that if I'm talking to somebody, like I'm going to talk to a kid or a child differently than I'm going to talk to an adult. You know? I'm going to be talking to people, and I got to make sure that those things are adjustable.
Sure.
And the next thing I thought about was just flexibility and how key being flexible is. I'm a control freak.
Yeah.
I love having a set schedule. I love having set designs. That's why being sick kind of threw me for a loop.
Yeah, sure.
Because I love having things like I know what I'm going to be doing this day. I know what I'm going to do this day. And this whole season of 2020, where it's coronavirus, where everything's kind of just up in the air,
right,
has really been a challenge because I've had to learn what flexibility is.
Yeah.
What being flexible is. Because, and like flexible being the same thing as adjustable. Like you gotta be able to, like I would say, call an audible.
Yeah.
So, you know, something's coming up that you would have never seen before.
Right.
You got to call an audible. You got to say, all right, you know what? It's okay. And I think being in these opportunities where you're able to say yes.
Yeah.
Is going to just propel you through life.
Sure. Yeah.
Because there's people who, you know, like we were talking about, there's a lot of people who, you know, when you see somebody who's just rigid, who's just controlling, and they're like, I have to be this way, versus somebody who's like, yeah, no, I can do that. No, I can flex.
Right.
Somebody, like if those two people are up for a job interview, the person who's more flexible, 9 times out of 10 is going to get the job.
Yeah, 100%.
Despite their experience, despite their you know, information, their knowledge, whatever they have.
Yeah.
You know, that employer is going to look at that person who's flexible, and they're going to say, well, you know what? I can depend on him because I know they're going to be able to adjust.
Yeah.
And so
I think me and you would call that coachable.
Yeah.
You know, coachable, kind of the same word, but different language, like we talked about, you know. Cool.
And so I think that, you know, it is so important in life just to be as flexible as possible, or as adjustable, or as coachable as possible.
Right.
And so.
And there's always situations that, like, you want to be firm, but and in all of those situations, there's still a way for you to become flexible, right, or adjustable, you know. And so I think that's a really good point. I like what you're saying about coachability is kind of a need if you want to become better, if you want to become a leader, stuff like that. And so that's important. But I guess so. I guess you answered the first question. Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's important to be adjustable. It's important to learn how to fit different situations, so to speak. But how can you work on being adjustable? Because it's one way to say, yeah, I want to be flexible. Yeah, I am coachable. But, you know, you might not be. And how do you even get there, you know?
I think it takes practice because, like I said, it's not a, you know, like this whole season for me isn't like, you know, it's been a work in progress. Like it doesn't change overnight. And recognizing that, hey, it's a process. It's going to take time. I think is a key step. Mm-hmm. Probably the next key step is just humility. Sure. We talk about it a lot, and just learning about being able to take a step back and say, you know what? How can I get better in this situation? How can I learn more? How can I develop more? How can I develop myself more in a way that's going to help this? And when it comes to being flexible, when it comes to being adjustable, you have to know that, like, hey, you know, it's gonna be a process, and being able to say, you know what, maybe I don't know the right answer. Maybe I don't. You know, I'm not qualified for this, but I am qualified because I have this opportunity. You know? Yeah. And we talked about it a lot of times off the mic, but you know, when you have these opportunities, you're qualified. That makes you qualified because that door's open, and when you're able to walk through that door, when you're able to open that door's open and you're able to walk through it, that's what qualifies you. Yeah. Being in the right place at the right time is the qualification that's needed. Yeah. And so when it comes to learning about how to be flexible, when it comes to learning, it's just taking time. It's recognizing that, hey, You know, I call it open palm living. It's just, you know, whatever I can do to say yes to an opportunity, I'm going to try to say yes.
Yeah, that's cool.
I mean, obviously there's things that you don't want to say yes to. We're not going to say, but when it comes to a task or a job or something that someone's like, hey, I have an opportunity for you.
Right.
Open palms, you say, yep, I can take that.
Yeah.
You go try to do it with the closed palms. You can't receive, you can't grab onto anything when your palms are closed. And so, I mean, those are just some helpful tips that I can think of.
Yeah, that's I like that. I think that's really cool, and brings up a really great point about these doors you're talking about, because you know, plenty of times opportunities come and they land right in front of us, and we may not even notice them, or maybe not even want to notice them. And this is like where adjustability comes in, I feel like. So I think you brought up kind of like a really great point about, you know, being adjustable and being able to find opportunities, and they show up, you know, when we are adjustable. So it brings up a great point. But kind of like what really got me going about this topic is, yeah, I think I'm pretty good at being flexible, adjustable, coachable. But, you know, what about if other people aren't adjustable? You know, like that. I feel like that's where we kind of get stuck. So walk me through how you deal with other people who aren't adjustable.
I think when you said coachable, that word at least resonated with me, because I used to be a college athlete,
right?
And so I've dealt with so many people who had already thought that, you know, they're the best.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a tough situation. It's a tough place to be, because one, you don't want to be like, hey, you don't want to like tell them off, or, you know, you want to try to do it with as much love as you can.
Sure.
But I think part of loving somebody is helping them recognize that, hey, things are, you know, you need to adjust. And I think, again, when we talked about just communication, being able to communicate with somebody in their language, in a way that they're going to understand it, the way that's not going to offend them, a way that's humble, that says, hey, I'm not better than you. And I think that's a huge part about being a leader.
Right.
You know, when we talk about, like, this whole idea is as a leadership podcast, you know, like, we want people to be developed into leaders. And so when you're leading your team and you see somebody who's not coachable, I think the biggest step you can take as a leader is talking to them and saying, hey, how can we get to a yes? My pastor, Pastor Tanner, she says that all the time. She says, how can we get to a yes?
Yeah.
So when there's, you know, kids who miss their mom, or kids who have separation anxiety, which is a common thing when it comes to like smaller kids. Yeah. You'll see kids who are just like, oh, I want to hang out with my mom, and their mom or their parents are trying to get to church. Right. And you'll see them. And so Pastor Tanner's always saying, how can we get to a yes? And so we try to figure out, we try to talk, try to get to, you know, these kids who, you know, aren't coachable, they're not flexible, they're not in this place where they're like, I want to adjust to this new environment. And so we try to figure out, how can we get to a yes? And so we try to talk through things. You know, you're talking to a kid, so you have different languages, and so you're communicating with them in a way until they're finally like, yeah, let's do it. Right. Let's do it. And so story with that is that exact same situation happened a couple weeks ago. And Pastor Tanner's talking to this kid, and she's like, hey, let's just hang out. Let's just walk around the yellow hallways. Right. And then you can come be our helper. And the kid lit up, because the kid got a task. He got a job. He got an opportunity where it felt like he was in his wheelhouse. And he felt like he could deal with that. And he was like, yeah, I don't want to go hang out in my classroom. I want to be a helper. Right. And so we're walking around. He's helping count kids. He's helping. And, you know, we finally got to a place where he was like, you know, let's go to my classroom. I feel like I'm comfortable enough to go. And he went to his classroom and had an amazing time. That's awesome. Heck yeah. You know, and so it's just like Pastor Tanner said. I know she watches this, so shout out Pastor T. You know, it's how can we get to a yes? That's cool. And so I think that one of the best things you can do as a leader is just communicate with your person and figure out how they can get to a yes.
Yeah, I know. You bring up a really great point. And I want to talk about this leader word for a second before we move on. It's that, even if you're not a manager of a group of people or you're not in charge of a group of people, doesn't mean you can't lead across, you can't lead down, you can't lead up. The definition of leadership is one word, and that's influence. And so you can lead someone as far as you influence them, and that comes, you can measure that by how strong your relationship is, how long you've known somebody, and that all factors into this idea of influence. And so you bring up a really great point about if you notice someone's not adjustable, using the right language, like talked about earlier, can help you influence that person to maybe change directions. It's kind of said like the older people are, the less they like change and they enjoy change.
And you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Exactly. And so in the workplace, and I've found this out as the youngest person in my group, is that a lot of the older people in my team, they don't like change. They don't like innovation, so to speak, and new ways of doing things because, if it ain't fixed, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, Yeah. And so, like you mentioned, that's an opportunity to explain being coachable and understanding new ways to do things and being flexible. It is for the betterment of everyone. And so I think you hit the nail on the head or screwed in the bolt, so to speak, right?
I think one thing that just came to my mind.
Yeah.
When it came to coaching, my coach would always say, we're not doing this to hurt you.
Yeah.
We don't want. We're trying to set you up for success.
Right.
And I think about that all the time because so many times my coach would tell me something or he would say something and I would just be like, what does he know? And then I'd realize, in that moment that, hey, he probably is onto something. He wants to set me up for success.
Exactly.
And I think in the same instance, as a leader, you're setting up your people for success. And so trying to convey that, trying to talk about it in a way that they're going to understand that, hey, he really does want to set me up for success. He doesn't want to just, bring me down. He's not saying it to tear me down, to make fun of me. You know? And I think that's where I used to get into a place where I was like, oh man, he's trying to set me up for failure. But really recognizing that, man, whoever's in charge or whoever's not in charge, but whoever's leading you, whoever's influencing you in that moment, they're trying their best in their toolbox to set you up for success. Yeah, no,
that's awesome. I like that a lot. I think that I've seen that in my own life plenty of times to tell you as a listener that it does work. Sometimes you got to drop the pride a little bit and accept coaching from someone around you, because no matter what, you can always find something better. And maybe what somebody, and this happened to me plenty of times, the intention of what someone tells me, I may not agree with, but they might be on the right track. And I might need to look at that and evaluate kind of where I'm at. And so I like that a lot. And you being, having to been coached for so long, you kind of get this other perspective that I don't have. And so I think we kind of came to a pretty cool point about, being coachable and being flexible, adjustable, whatever you want to call it, how helpful it can be for success, Yeah. But cool, man. I'm glad we brought that adjustable wrench in our toolbox because I think that's really going to make our workshop flow better. But I kind of want to get into a crazy theory I have. Okay,
these are my favorite. I'm always excited. I like the thing of the day.
Yeah.
But my favorite is your crazy theory.
Yeah.
Is that always crazy?
They are a little bit crazy. This one is, I might say it's cliche, and it's definitely controversial as far as topic goes. But it is a little cliche. And so my crazy theory of the day is stop wearing masks. Okay? And why this is so topical right now is, we're in a worldwide pandemic fighting the coronavirus, and there's these mask mandates. Whether you go to a restaurant, grocery store, or you're, pumping gas, you're expected to be wearing a mask. And I think what this pandemic has caused psychologically is for people to not only wear physical masks, but they're wearing these metaphorical masks. And this happened to me because when I go to a store, before having to wear a mask, I was always like, oh no, who am I going to run into? Or who am I going to see? Who's going to waste my time with a conversation that I really don't want to have? It had, and wearing a mask, I'm like, I feel safe. And I'm like, oh, sweet. I don't have to see people I know. I don't have to see my parents' friends, my grandparents' friends. And so I see people not only wearing physical masks, but in a way they're wearing these metaphorical masks. And this is, multi-side. There's a lot of sides to this about wearing a mask metaphorically. For instance, we go to church. We go to a church that has a core value of let's just get people in the door and let's let God change their lives, and that in a way has caused a culture of we're Sunday Christians. You know what I mean? You kind of following me?
Yeah.
And for instance, I've seen people go to the church I go to that I went to high school with, and I'm friends with them on social media, and I see them on Sundays, and it's they act correctly, or in public, it's like, oh yeah, like they're on the right track. They're living what they preach, And then I'm seeing them on Friday, and I saw this a lot in college, but I'm seeing this right now as well. I'm seeing them on Friday night, posting pictures of their parties and them doing stupid stuff with their friends, and it's like they come to church, they're wearing a mask 'cause they have to, but they're also wearing another mask because they're trying to hide their true self. And why I think this is a crazy theory is because there's going to come a day where we don't have to wear masks in public due to disease. And I want more than anything to people not only take those masks off, but to take off the other masks. And I can apply this to my own life because of what I said earlier. It's like, don't be so grungy and push away people that want to talk to you, because right now I'm like, dang, nobody wants to talk to me. I sit at home at night and I'm like, man, I don't, nobody really wants to hang out. And it's not that nobody does want to hang out. It's that I've made this up in my mind and I'm wearing this mask and I've kind of closed off my walls, right? And I think that has to do with subconsciously, I'm like, I blame it on the coronavirus. I'm like, I don't want to go out. I don't want to go out to eat right now because I have to wear a mask and there's all these guidelines, health guidelines, that I might spend too much money, or I'll see somebody that I don't want to see, and that's like, I blame it on the coronavirus, but it's really due to the mask that I play of how do I word this correctly? Like I'm selfish and I don't really want other people to ruin my night, and so. I don't know. It's crazy. It's weird. It's cliche. It's controversial topically, and so I don't know. Did any of that make sense?
I think that's something that's one of my biggest complaints about the church culture in today's society in general. Not just our church, which I've seen a lot of. As well.
Yeah, right.
But there's I went to a Christian school, and there's so many really solid people there.
Of course, right.
But there was also a lot of people, like you said, that have been wearing masks for years.
Yeah.
Who, and I'm not saying I'm perfect. I'm not saying we're not perfect by any means.
Of course not.
And we're not this isn't a hey, we can just judge all the people that we know type deal. But it's more of something we've noticed is that people have put on a physical mask, and I agree. You should probably put it on, not just for. There's a lot of people who are the sheeple kind of idea.
Yeah.
My thing about the physical mask is that, hey, it doesn't take much effort to wear it. Yeah, it's annoying. Sometimes it gives face rashes. I get all the negatives that I hear people say, but at the end of the day, if I could put a mask on and somehow it stops this airborne virus that seems very contagious, then I'm going to do that versus, having this selfish thing where, you put yourself in a place where you're like, I'm better than them. But what this physical mask has done, like you said, has put on a metaphorical mask where we close off everything.
Yeah.
This virus is a psychological virus. You hear people talk about it all the time. They're like, oh man, I can't believe he's got coronavirus. And then they try to stay away from them.
Right.
People are afraid to go outside. People are afraid to meet up in community. And people are lacking so much community right now that they're upset. They're freaking out. They're like, man, I don't know what to do. Like you were saying, like I would rather stay inside and have someone not ruin my day.
Exactly.
And that's this crazy thing that's happening right now. And it's I know so many people who have been very social.
Right.
That are like, craving this community, craving it, and they can't because, all the
and I used to be that person,
Yeah.
Like, I'm such a people person, but I'm using this as an excuse to not be,
you know? And so when it comes to this, this mask, it's just insane because, like, when you go to church, what you should do is take off this mask. I mean, I think I've talked about it in a couple of the episodes, but, one of my biggest pet peeves is going to a place where they're just checking boxes. They're just saying, hey, like, I'm here. I went to church this week. I had my time. And there's been plenty of instances in my life where I've just checked the boxes, where even when I was serving, I was like, well, I served this week, and so that counts. And I realized that, it's kind of a heart thing. It's kind of we talk about it all the time. It's a perspective thing, man. If you're going to church just because you feel like you have to, or you feel like you think, or if you're going anywhere, it doesn't even necessarily have to be church. If you feel like it's this have to attitude, you're missing the point. You're missing the mark. When you go into it thinking, man, I get to experience this. You open up this positive environment where you say, man, this thing is going to influence me in a positive way. And for us, like we talk about a lot, is that for us, it's church. And when I go to church, I want to do everything I can to take off my mask.
Right.
I'll keep on my physical mask because that's their guideline. But, my metaphorical mask, I want to come in and say, I live a life, just to be raw, that, like, I try to think of the most positive things, but I still suffer from anxiety and depression. And so, like, a lot of people don't know that because I'm trying my hardest to be a positive person, to be happy, to be excited. And when I go to church, Jesus says to come as you are, come as who you are. And so I try to my hardest. I'm not perfect at it, but I try my hardest to take off my mask and say, man, this is it. This is me right here. This is who I am. This is the moment. And there's a lot of people who go to church and they're just like, no, everything's fine, everything's perfect. And I'm like, man, this world is crazy right now. There's no way that you're living a perfect life.
Exactly.
That your life is perfect, that your life is you can be blessed and be in a great spot, but even in that time of being blessed, being happy, I recognize that just the way the world works, there's got to be something that you need, or something that needs help, something that is broken, that, like you said, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, or, something's cracked, or something's needs to be fixed.
Right.
And, I mean, it's just the odds game. There's no way that it's perfect.
Yeah.
And so, our encouragement is just, if you're listening to this, just be you.
Yeah.
You belong way before you believe. That's something our church talks about all the time, is that you belong way before you believe. And in this world, you belong. You have a place, you have a spot, and it's, I think, just one of the most important things to think about is that way before you have these moments, these opportunities, man, you don't need to wear a mask. You don't need a metaphorical mask. You may need to wear a physical mask, but a metaphorical mask, you don't need to wear it. You can be who you are in this world full of social media, this world full of, hey, look how great I'm doing.
Right.
It is perfectly okay to say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I'm not perfect.
Yeah.
And I think that that's something that, again, I don't know if it's social media or if it's just the culture we live in that's provided this opportunity of, let's wear a mask. Let's show off how perfect we are, even though, things are troubling. And you don't want to be like, you don't necessarily need to be like a negative Nancy, because there's always like with that negative, there's always a positive that's also going on. Right, so it's recognizing both things and saying, how can we, one, improve, and how are we blessed in this moment?
No, that's good. You bring up a funny point about Instagram. I feel like Instagram now, especially what we're talking about, is a lot of people's masks. When Instagram first came out, it used to be called Instantgram. And the idea was that you showed other people your life in an instant. You take a selfie at cool places, or maybe there was like your cute puppy or your food, right? Food was when Instagram first came out. It was like all about food,
Yeah.
And
Instagram eats first. That's
yeah,
what they said.
exactly. And like that was the idea when it first came out, and now it has become like, let's just pretend we're perfect, And I think that's really funny. I think it's a really good point to kind of drive home at the end here. Is like stop. Like if you want to take off your metaphorical mask, stop using social media as your mask, right? You start showing your true self, and or just get off social media. Like, that's just kind of me. Like I like to consume social media, but I kind of like to keep my life private, Like I don't want to push out stuff out there and be like, hey, I'm this perfect. I have this perfect relationship, which I probably did. No, I'm just kidding. But
shout out to Jamie. I know you're listening.
But yeah, no, I think that this is the crazy theory is that we wear our mask too often. Let's just go ahead and start taking it off, and maybe you want to just take the risk of the coronavirus and just take off your physical mask too. That's what I think, but I'm not gonna die on that hill. But dude, so we went through. We made our perfect ice cream. We talked about our new tool we brought to the shop, an adjustable wrench. Hey, we even went through a crazy theory, which may not be so crazy as it is cliche, but it's time for my favorite part about Bamboozled, because we don't have to think. It's not like we're really diving in.
I have to think.
You do have to think. So, man, jumping into Bamboozled, my first question is, what does PU stand for, as in PU that stinks?
Yeah. So again, I always have to think about these because I try to think about it in the most rational way possible. So PU, what would that mean? I think, to me, it's like an onomatopoeia. Where they say, it's onomatopoeia is a word that sounds like noise. So it's the noise you make when you smell something really gross.
P-U.
So you're like, P-U. Like,
yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I think of it kind of like, ugh.
Yeah.
Like, dang.
That makes sense. I'm following you there.
If I have to guess what PU stands for on the spot, pretty ugly.
Pretty ugly?
Stinks, That was
come on, dude. I'm thinking poopy underwear that stings,
Poopy underwear actually fits perfect.
I don't know. I think you're right. I think you're right. And what you're saying about is like onomatopoeia, but I would say, poopy underwear that stings. I might actually start saying that. But,
that would be
not that I know myself. I don't know. I don't have poopy underwear, so I don't know. But this is what I'm assuming that smells like. What poopy underwear smells like.
No, that makes sense.
Because I'm,
And poopy underwear seems kind of immature, so they're just saying PU.
Yeah, you're exactly right. So that we answer that question. This one's interesting. So if Mars has earthquakes, are they called Marsquakes?
So earthquakes. Earth is actually the Earth and earthquakes isn't based on Earth.
This is what I knew you were going this direction, so I'm glad you are.
It's not based off the planet. It's based off of the word that actually just means ground. Like the ground is quaking.
Yeah.
So, I would say it would still be an earthquake, as in the thing. But I don't actually think the way that earthquakes happen is tectonic plates are moving.
Yeah.
And Mars is a lot like Mercury, where they have it's like one solid piece, and instead of it being tectonic plates shifting around, they have it where it's again, you might be an astrophysicist or whatever, and you know more about this.
Yeah.
I think it's probably. I think
we're unqualified, right?
They're it's like a barren place, so it's like dry.
Yeah.
It'd be like I don't know if this. I mean, because tectonic plates are underneath the core, right?
Yeah.
The core, so it'd be like I'm pretty sure it like falls down instead of like moves, like shifts like an earthquake would.
Yeah.
It like goes vertically.
Interesting.
But there's also, I mean, they show like mountains and stuff, which also form from tectonic plates.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could be just completely wrong.
Yeah, you've been to Mars a few times. I think you know.
At least it is.
Let's move on to this next one. Would a cannibal be charged with drinking and driving if he ate someone that was drunk and in turn became drunk and started driving? Got pulled over.
So, This would be a theory thinking that you are what you eat. So basically, like if you ate somebody who had a high, the blood alcohol content level, assuming that would get you drunk or their blood would get you drunk. I don't actually think it would probably work that way because I think that you would have to. It would have to go about. I'm trying to think of this again in a logical way.
Yeah.
I don't think that it works that way. Because it goes through. Obviously, the alcohol goes through, so you'd have to either drink already. Actually, no, none of that would work. In my logical brain.
Yeah.
Once that person is drunk, I mean, you're not going to eat them alive, are you? I mean, some people...
I don't know. I'm not a cannibal, so...
I think, some people might. I've seen movies, but they would be dead. So at that point, them being dead, they'd be cut off from... It'd be like when you put alcohol in, like bratwurst, for example.
Yeah.
A lot of people will mix it in with
beer batter. Yeah.
And so when you're cooking it, unless they eat it raw, I guess, they're not going to... I don't know. I'm not a cannibal, so this is like a really tough... I'm just thinking about it, again, logically. When you're cooking it, we just cook through it, so then you wouldn't even...
Yeah.
But if you ate it raw and you got drive, they would probably charge you with cannibalism instead of drinking and driving.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. I'm not a cop. I'm not a legal expert either, but that would probably be... Actually, I think if you're a good lawyer, you could get the cannibal off with drinking and driving instead of cannibalism, because I think when you eat somebody, there is you have like a hormone change. Mm-hmm. I don't know why, but that's just like what happens.
No, I think that's true.
And so, if you're a good enough lawyer, maybe you could get him off with drinking and driving instead of cannibalism. But if you're a cannibal listening to this, stop. We're talking about being adjustable. Hey, this is a time to practice adjustability.
This is a time for you to grow.
Yeah.
For you to be coachable, to say, hey.
Just stop and get some help, as Michael Jordan would say. Let's go to the next one. Do you yawn in your sleep?
I did read this question early. No. Because yawning is actually just a signal to your brain to say, hey, you're either forgetting oxygen or you need to be awake in this moment. So while you're sleeping, you're charging.
Right.
So there'd be no reason to yawn because you wouldn't need to be awake in that moment. Or you wouldn't be able to forget. I mean, some people forget how.
What if I've seen someone yawn in their sleep, though? I've seen it.
I'm just thinking logically.
Yeah.
Physically, maybe.
You don't need to yawn.
Yeah, you don't need to yawn in your sleep.
But it probably could happen.
But it could probably happen.
Just like farting. You can fart in your sleep.
Yeah. But, I mean, sometimes you need to do that because farting is just a release of air from your intestines. That's true.
Interesting question. But this question probably came from someone who lives alone and has put on too much time on the internet, and they were just like, what do you do when you sleep? And then can you yawn? Yeah. But I think you're right about that one. This last one, why do you recite at a play, but you play at a recital?
This is a question that is the reason I hate the English language, because they always do dumb stuff like
this. They do.
Where I can't think of an example right now, but they always do. It's like this at this, but then that's at that, and it's like, why do you do this English language?
It's like if you do art, you're an artist, but if you do rap, you're a rapper.
Yeah, not a rapist.
Not a rapist. Yeah. Although some are probably both. But anyways.
I think a logical answer would be the English language sucks.
Okay. Wow.
And that's you're reciting a play. Like to recite means basically just to read.
Right.
To recite, to re-see something. And then you play at a recital, because when you're at a recital, those are instruments that you're playing. And that's my logical way of answering.
You pretty much restated the question, but I see what you're saying. I
just explained the question so that people
with the question, but yes, you're right. Okay.
Who are English viewers and are trying to understand this crazy language.
Just don't. learn a Mandarin or,
learn something of value.
Makes sense. So
the English language is going to be out in the next 50 years.
Wow, that's a bold statement.
If you're listening to this in 2070, let me know if I'm right. Down in the comments, let me know.
Yeah, because you'll probably not be around, but I'm glad.
50 years from now, I hope.
I've seen your eating habits. I'm kidding.
I didn't think I was going to make it past 21, but here I am.
Here you are.
About to be 24 in 2 weeks.
Shoo, you're old.
Yep.
I hope I'm never 24.
Bradley's been 24 for a couple months. So.
Oh man, but hey, that about wraps it up. We'll call it a wrap.
Yes, sir.
That's it. We're at our adjustable wrench 2R workshop. And
episode 6.
Episode 6. So we've got 5 episodes out, and then we added that bonus episode number 6, and we're trucking along. Once we got past that 5th episode, and I think that means we're not going to stop, because it's kind of becoming part of our routine. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Be on the lookout for some more on the platform of your favorite, and
Spotify, iTunes.
We have it out on YouTube. It's out on other podcast platforms. We don't really market that, but it's on everything. So
you guys check out Facebook. That's the easiest way for us to
interact,
share things.
And we post blogs as well, kind of along with the podcast. So there's a lot of good information in all of them. So
check us out. Let us know. I'm excited to hear from you guys.
Yeah. And that's all I got. So I guess we'll see you guys next time.
See you guys.
Thank you for watching. Now let's get building.